Hello, everyone. This is Maria, inspiring human potential, inner growth, content creator, and podcast host. Today, we have our weekly IHP Roundup for your Monday motivation, and we'll be discussing three main topics or three takeaways with three main topics. Last week, we discussed emotions, particularly some of those emotions that are categorized into the quote unquote negative, bad, quote unquote again arena. For those who do tune into the podcast and have been members of the community and are participating actively with the inner growth mindset and journey, you know it's from neutrality that we explore all. And last week we uncovered with Carl Jung, that psychologist, who talks about transcendent function. Even he expresses how the neutrality, when we are in this place and explore polar opposites of our experiences in life, are able to connect conscious, subconscious, and experience life and what we go through and what we've been through in different ways. And this is the gist of it. I explained it in the podcast. I've done an Instagram post on it, so you guys can go and read the exact way it's formulated. But for purposes of our Monday motivation and just in general, neutrality is what allows you to look at two areas, and feelings are part of being a human being. This allocation of certain feelings in negative, bad, not wanted, with that very word, keeps those feelings there. So we discussed anger, jealousy, change, hostile was on Sunday, just yesterday. How, with heart and your mind, as always, you get to process them with love, and you get to know things about you. You get to make choices. You feel not powerless, and you don't feel those feelings in a way that equals powerless. You feel empowered because essentially you're allowing yourself to explore feelings versus judge, condemn them. And this is where it's always applied to the external too, but to not get lost. So takeaway one: any emotion that you experience, don't put it into that negative, bad box. Acknowledge it's one of those that feels deeply. So there's a hurt, there's an ego self involved. This is not, again, in a negative way. We're moved to second bullet point that we discussed, the brain and the nervous system, which we have been discussing since last year, but more this year. I've been including in every episode some breakdowns. And in the jealousy or the anger one, I gave you a little bit of the aspects that discuss our nervous system's response and that defense mechanism. And we even found out how our cognitive brain, our rational brain, is the youngest part of the brain. It occupies 30% of, I wrote down notes, 30% of the area inside the skull. It's the smallest portion from the rest of the brain, and the brain is developed from bottom up. So it's through our evolutionary process. If you guys tune into those episodes, if you haven't, you'll hear some parts, and I even give you the name of a book that you could purchase yourself and read it, because it's very fascinating, the information you gather. So when you are in any of those emotions, quote unquote, that are in the negative area, you are essentially having a defense response. And while others may break these down in a certain way, this is where we break it down. It's your feeling, it's your bodily response. You bring to awareness unconditional love, neutrality. You bring to awareness, I'm not being attacked physically. I don't need to express these emotions in this way. I want to address them. I can address them. I'm not defending. I don't have to defend my ego, myself. I can be myself. This is what gets you to practice feeling the emotions in neutrality, for you're not judging them. You're understanding them as a physiological response, which is what they are, which is then taken care of from the one place you will not continue to engage in the defense mechanism, your heart and your mind, with your choosing. I'm going to stay calm and evaluate with my mind what's going on. Neutrality supports you to process the emotions. That's why the external is also involved, though. You're not to condemn or judge people or life. The unknown elements of life is always that infinite space that those who want to stay in duality will not axis, in this way of being able to be in impartiality. For those of you who are pursuing and practicing the inner growth journey, mindset, and lifestyle approach, you are practicing this. Emotions, not bad or good, they are part of being human. As you gain familiarity with working with your body, mind, and heart in harmony and flow with this self-empowerment and ownership, you will find a loving heart. And when you do encounter anger, jealousy, hostile feelings, you know exactly how you want to address it, which is why you also embody a leadership communication style with yourself and with others. You are no longer helpless in defense mode, in vulnerability mode with your nervous system's response. Your feelings are in your possession, but not in a way of control. They are yours, that's all. You're allowing yourself to feel emotions. In fact, you may remove yourself from situations if you're upset. That's part of your ability to choose. The last is life, happiness, and change. In this too, we got to explore how through you acknowledging life is experienced in the mind and the heart, the way you think about things, those human elements, your heritage, your upbringing, your culture, but how with your own heart and with, again, that neutrality, you don't have to be in a place of defending. You can be in a place of expression. The expression takes place while respecting that others have the same elements. It's not better or worse. This is where we coexist with each other. So your life happiness is always determined by you. Change is more of a transformation than something that you would want to seek in a way that doesn't allow you to be yourself. In fact, if you need to change you, how are you loving you? How are you growing you? Something to think about. And if you guys want, tune into last week, the episode on change, and you'll hear what we get to discuss. So your 3 takeaways, I'll repeat because I know I shared a little bit more in this Monday motivation. Emotions, don't allocate them in good or bad. Allow yourself to work with your heart and allow yourself to choose how you want to behave, respond, and slowly, in this place of neutrality and unconditional love with inner growth in mind, you're going to see how easy it gets to deal with things in a loving way with your heart and in a firm way. That nervous system's response, you are participating in your physiological response by paying attention to the body. So you bring a relaxed state. We've talked about rhythmic breathing. You practice that breathing. You practice, okay, I want to be in a place of love and neutrality. I'm not going to engage in getting more upset. That's 2. And then life, happiness, change. Same idea. You want to practice being aware, not negating the emotions, but instead you walk yourself through the moment, participating and knowing that you do exist in this moment, right? And as you take care of the things that you're facing through the mind and heart, which are what always lead a human's day to day, you address and are not helpless. You are empowered from the self, from the heart, from the mind, from the body, by being you. I'll be back again next week with more, so tune in.